Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be previewing the Washington football team's Week 13 matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders. It's a big game for the Washington football team. They're looking to win their fourth straight game. I'll give you guys very important injury updates for the Washington football team, but also the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll give you guys keys to victory for the Washington football team, and then I'll also give you guys my score prediction at the end of the video. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content, hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. It really helps out the channel a ton, so I really appreciate you guys doing that. And make sure you guys go ahead and check out WinView and join some contests to win some money. Let's get right into the video. So like I said, this is a big game for the Washington football team, but also a very big game for the Raiders. Both of these teams are trying to win this game to improve their playoff chances. So let's get right into the injury updates. A lot of injuries for the Washington football team. Unfortunately, just as they were getting some guys back, last week in Curtis Samuel and Logan Thomas, they're starting to lose some other players. So Landon Collins, J.D. McKissic, and Wes Schweitzer are all out for this game. And Benjamin St-Juste is also out for this game because they did place him on IR. That situation is starting to get very concerning. His third concussion of the year. That's just not good at all, because he did play 2 games after he came back from the second concussion. So I don't think it's him still not fully recovered from that second concussion. So that's a very concerning issue, and you might have to shut him down for the year so he can get fully healed up and make sure it just doesn't happen again in the near future. And then Ricky Seals-Jones, Curtis Samuel, Tyler Larsen, and Eric Flowers are all questionable. Ron Rivera, though, did say there is some optimism with Eric Flowers possibly playing, because if he doesn't play, that is a huge loss, because our offensive line is already very thin at the moment. We're at our 4th center, and we have Sam Cosmi who's out. Obviously Chase Roulier is out. We'll see if Eric and Wes Schweitzer is out for this game. If Eric Flowers can't play, that's a huge loss. And Tyler Larsen, if he can play, that'll help us a lot. Keith Ismail wasn't bad, but I do think Tyler Larsen is better. He's more experienced, and he has a little bit more, he has a lot more, chemistry with Heineke, because he did play with him in Carolina and played with him for a few games this year. So I think Larsen coming back, he's questionable, but if he can come back, that would be a boost to this offensive line, and Eric Flowers can play. That'll help us a ton with, Wes Schweitzer being out, which is unfortunate because he can play anywhere on that interior of the offensive line. Curtis Samuel, questionable, but I think he will be good to go. They limited him all week, but that's what you want to do with him. He played last week. Doesn't seem like anything bad happened, like re-aggravated. If that happened, we would have saw a DNP for him. So he should be good to go for this game. I think I heard there will be still a snap count. So I think he played 20 snaps last week. It's a short week, so probably maybe he'll go up to 30, 35. That's what I think it'll be. And then the week after that, he should be good to go, to play almost all the snaps. And Ricky Seals-Jones coming back, that'll be, a help in the pass game. And then Gibson, Brandon Sheriff, and Logan Thomas are all good to go. For the Raiders, Carl Nassib is out. And then one of their linebackers, don't want to try to pronounce that name, he is out. And then Darren Waller is doubtful. So that's huge for the Washington football team, because he is their best player, and he's one of the better tight ends in the NFL. Their offense runs through him. He's just an absolute beast. So having him out is, would be huge for Washington. Deshaun Jackson, questionable. Not sure if he's going to play, but he went from limited to DNP to limited. So I do think he will play, but again, it's a calf injury. So that's something where it might flare up in warmups or something, and he might not play. So that is something that we have to keep our eye out for. Josh Jacobs, their running back, he is questionable, but a lot of these running backs go into the week questionable, and they almost always play. There's some running backs that are just questionable every week. So, Washington definitely has more guys injured, but, the Raiders do have their best player, Darren Waller, who is questionable. So if he's out, that is a huge loss for the Las Vegas Raiders. And I don't know why I forgot to mention, the impact of the J.D. McKissic and Landon Collins injuries, but those are huge losses for Washington. Landon Collins has been playing really well for Washington at that linebacker / strong safety position, big nickel. He's been playing really well. Unfortunate that he's out, but it could be a situation where they don't want to rush him back this week on a short week, so they're going to give him a full week of rest and let him come back next week against the Cowboys, which is a much more important game. But it's definitely a huge loss because he's been playing well, and we're going to have to, Jamin Davis and Cole Holcomb are going to have to step up. And J.D. McKissic, that's a big loss. He's been, not too much of a loss in the running game, but the pass catching game, he's been really good for us this whole season, the whole last season. So Gibson's going to have to step up a little bit in that department, and so is Jarrett Patterson. And they did call up Wendell Smallwood, or they signed him to the practice squad, I think. So he'll probably get some work. He might be in there for some pass protection because, that McKissic was good at that, and, Gibson isn't the best at it, so they're going to have to step up. And this is also a short week for Gibson, and he just came off of 30-something touches, including catches. So they're going to have to rely on, 2, possibly 3 different backs. And that's a big loss for Washington, but it's a concussion, so hopefully he will be good to go for next week. I think Landon Collins and J.D. McKissic will get those guys back for sure next week, and same thing with, I'm not going to say Landon Collins for sure, but likely, and then Eric Flowers and Tyler Larson. If they don't play this week, they'll be good to go for next week. So now on to the keys to victory for the Washington football team against the Las Vegas Raiders. First one is you got to win time of possession. You just have to, you got to continue to run the ball, play smash mouth football like you have the last few weeks, because we are first in time of possession the last 3 weeks, and of course that correlates to us winning 3-0, and this has helped the whole entire offense. We are averaging 24.3 points in that stretch, 353.3 yards per game, which is 12th in the NFL. Our pass attempts have gone down, and I'm fine with that. 30 pass attempts for Heineke per game. That's what you want, maybe even less. Have Gibson get a bunch of carries. Same thing with, McKissic when he's healthy. Give a few to Patterson, and let Heineke run as well. You'll see how much more efficient Heineke's been in the last few weeks without having to throw a ton. 77.5% completion percentage, and our rushing attempts have gone up tremendously. About 13 in the last, gone up 13 since week 8. So that's just something that we have to, 13 per game, that's just something we have to continue to do. Run the ball because it gives our defense a break. Our defense has been well rested the last few weeks, so that is good. That is good for our chances this week because they haven't had to play much. They only had to play 18 minutes last week, which is insane. But just keep running ball. That's really the biggest key to victory. That's their identity on offense. Don't go away from it. Just continue to do it, and I think it will work. And another thing is, it's a somewhat similar, but it's another key to victory, is that, Heineke has been really successful this year with play action, and I think that goes really well with the run game, is, just keep doing some more play action. I think they need to do even more than they're doing right now. I thought there were some perfect situations for it last week. You had 2 straight 3rd and 1s where you didn't get it. The next 3rd and 1, why don't you go out there? They think you're going to run it. They know you're going to run it. Why don't you go out there, do a play action and hit, a tight end in the flat, John Bates, Logan Thomas, Ricky Seals-Jones this week, or, Gibson. You have a bunch of guys that can get you those 2 or 3 yards, and I think that's something they should do a little bit more because Heineke is very successful with play action. So those are kind of 2 keys to victory for offense. The next key to victory is the communication in the secondary has to be good against the Raiders. Derek Carr really likes to throw the ball down the field. Is 3rd in completed air yards at 1,763, 1st in deep attempts, and 2nd in deep completions, and he's 12th in the NFL and on target throw percentage at 78.2, and that's impressive because he's throwing a bunch of deep passes, and we've struggled with that a little bit because of the communication in the secondary. So I'm talking to Bobby McCain. He has to step up. He can't have these miscommunications every single week because it's mostly him now. Early on in the season, there was a bunch of guys to blame. Kendall Fuller was having a little bit of miscommunication out there. William Jackson was definitely having miscommunication. Landon Collins also was definitely having miscommunication. But the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, it's starting to get better and better, but Bobby McCain, it really hasn't gotten better for him, so he just needs to get better at that. The communication between him and the other guys in the secondary has to be better, and they've got some good deep threats in Deshaun Jackson if he plays. Got a couple others, and Hunter Renfrow, man, he's really good, super underrated, and Derek Carr loves throwing the ball in the middle of the field, and Hunter Renfrow can kill you there, so we have to pay attention to him. With Darren Waller likely out, he's their biggest threat, at least as a pass catcher. You're gonna have to watch out for him, so that's something for Washington to look out for on the Raiders offense. But the communication has to be good this week. Another key to victory is I think they should use Curtis Samuel more in the backfield this week. Not necessarily that many carries, but just use him a little bit in the backfield. I don't need to see 6, 7 plus carries for him, but give him a couple carries out of the backfield. I think that would be nice. I think they gave him one last week. It might have been a jet sweep, but I know he got like 4 yards rushing last week. I think that, get him involved a little bit there, and have him there in the backfield, and you can throw the ball to him as well in the screen game because they're gonna miss J.D. McKissic out there. So I think this is the perfect opportunity to get him involved because he is a very, very versatile player. He's gonna get an increased snap count, which I think that's going to happen. We'll see how much it is. Last week is 20. It's likely going to be in that 25 to 35, 40 range this week. So they're going to be able to use do a little bit more with him this week against the Raiders. So let's hope they can involve him a little bit more this week because they didn't really get him that much involved last week, and I think they're going to need to do that this week with J.D. McKissic out. So just something to keep your eye out for. And the next one is the special teams. It has to be at least okay this week. We don't need it to be great. We need it to be okay. I trust Tressway. He's going to continue to ball out, and our coverage in kick return and punt returning has been fine. I'm not too worried about that, but I'm more worried about our kicker. We signed Brian Johnson to the practice squad. Obviously going to get called up for the game. He's 8 for 8 in his career, and with the long of 52 and 5 for 8 on PAT. So very small sample size. Went to VTech. I don't know. I don't trust him. Obviously, we haven't seen him play enough. We'll see. I trust him to make these simple field goals. He has kicked in the NFL before. Has had at least success on field goals. So as long as we can get him to make the easy field goals, that's fine. We don't need to go out there, trot him out for a 55-yarder. Just, hold down the ship until Joey Sly comes back. But also, I'm looking at like DeAndre Carter. I just don't want to see that ball, fumble or whatever muff like he's had the last couple weeks, because he hasn't, we haven't lost it yet, but there's been one time where he officially fumbled it last week and one time before that, but also, it's been bobbling in his hand a little bit, so that's something that is definitely concerning for me the last couple weeks. I think he will get it fixed up. It's more in the punt return game, but hopefully that gets fixed up because that is definitely concerning. So now let's get into my score prediction. So it's really tough right now because there's a lot of player statuses up in the air. I am going to go, and this will definitely change depending on the injury news. If, Eric Flowers and Tyler Larson and, all the guys that are questionable, if they do play, I think that might end up changing my score prediction. For right now, I'm going to say 24-27 Raiders. I think if we were healthy, or even if we had these three guys that are out and a couple of these guys are questionable, I think we would win this game. But having those 3 players who are all key contributors out, that's really tough. It's also a short week. And not only is it a short week, but this team played last Thursday. So they have 10 days of rest. So I think that's really working against Washington. But if Eric Flowers and Larson play, and even Ricky Seals-Jones and Curtis Samuel will play, I think that could possibly change my prediction. So I'll give you guys my official one on, tomorrow during the stream or Sunday before the game. For now, I'm going to go with the Raiders win 27-24, but we definitely have a chance to win this game. I'm just really, really concerned about our health. And there's been, the Raiders are a very up and down team. So if we get the hot Raiders, it's going to be tough to beat. But if we get that, bad Raiders team, we'll definitely be able to beat them. So yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. We'll have a live stream likely tomorrow. So make sure you guys go ahead and come through for that. Appreciate everyone for coming through and watching the video. Peace, guys.